Hey, happy Tuesday. It's Tom. I want to talk about a serious issue today, the issue of domestic violence. It's one that unfortunately affects not only our clients, the families we serve, but also affects our own staff. And we've had some situations of that recently. So I want to take a few minutes to talk about the issue, talk about what we can do about it. First of all, I think it's important to say that it is a all too common situation. And it happens no matter your education, your socioeconomic status, how much money you have, what kind of neighborhood you live in. We see it happen everywhere from some of the struggling families that we serve to I've seen cases in which federal judges have been accused of severely engaging in domestic violence. I think the statistics show us that about every 9 seconds in the U.S. a woman is assaulted, but it affects men as well. Domestic violence occurs whenever one partner uses his or her status that comes out of an intimate relationship, whether you're dating, whether you have children together, whether you're married, and uses that power to emotionally or physically abuse and assault the other person. But there are things we can do about it. First of all, I think when it occurs among our own staff, we do have, of course, the option of calling 911, but we also have an employee assistance program. So I would encourage you, if you're experiencing this tragedy, to not be afraid to call your employee assistance program, to talk to your HR generalist, to see what you can do. And for our clients, we, of course, especially in the TANF folks, we have some DV posters we want to make sure that are posted in all our offices. We have what we call a Form 522 in our TANF offices, which is a pamphlet on domestic violence and what we can do about it. TANF, if domestic violence is affecting a person's life, that may be a reason to assist them with TANF and to perhaps waive some of the work requirements. And I think also we have some resources that we can obtain through our TANF program and through our domestic violence shelters. There are certain financial assistance that can help a person who is in a domestic violence shelter get permanent, safe, independent housing. That assistance can be up to $3,000. And so make sure that, I think Ramirez is going to put up on the screen links for this sort of information. I would highly encourage you to learn all you can about domestic violence. It affects not only the individual, not only the family, but all too often children. I think it's estimated that about 10 million children are exposed to domestic violence in one way or another each year. And it's the kind of thing that unfortunately it traumatizes a child who experiences it, whether they witness it or hear it or of course are victims of it themselves. It can carry on to the next generation through either the person repeating what they saw as children, or perhaps through having experienced trauma, they may be subject to even more trauma, drug addiction, mental health issues and all, as they grow into adulthood. So domestic violence is a very serious issue, and if we can do all that we can as an agency to identify it, to prevent it, to stop it, and to root it out, then we will have done a great job for the people of Georgia and for our own families and for our own communities. So thanks for letting me take a moment to talk about that serious issue. Hey, thanks for letting me take a little time. I know domestic violence is a somber issue, but we can talk a little bit about where we're going from here, a little bit more about the work. First of all, let me say that our comprehensive organizational health assessment is, we've extended the deadline for it a bit. We really need folks to fill this out. It is our way on the child welfare side of seeing where we are and what we need to do in terms of our culture and our climate for this agency. We've extended the deadline to August 2nd. We have gotten about 60% response on it. We really want to get that up to about 75%, so we can have a really good baseline as we move in the next 3 or 4 years to really improve the culture of your workplace. And speaking of culture of the workplace, I had a wonderful opportunity this past week to finish up our metro area roadshow with some meetings, especially in Clayton, and then with meeting with all the metro area leadership around the Atlanta area, really Clayton, Cobb, Gwinnett. And what was really nice, I think, about it was that, sometimes when you talk about issues as a leader, when you try to say, this is what we should be doing, it really, you can talk all day long. But what counts is when you see people from the front lines all the way up responding. And when I was able to go in some of the community meetings lately and see how our staff are interacting with their communities, how they are demonstrating themselves to be servant leaders, how they're talking about the future in a way that they know that this organization is willing to take risks, good risks, not bad risks, but take the kind of smart risks that we need to take in order to transform the organization into one that values families, that values child safety, and that relies on the discretion and the judgment of our frontline workers to really do good work on behalf of children and families. So it's really nice to see that. This week also marks my first year anniversary leading the agency. I just want to say that I thank you for bearing with me during this past year. I really enjoy being your leader and enjoy the opportunity to serve you as the director of the agency. I want to say that in the next year, a couple of things we're going to really focus on are going to be bolstering the workforce first. And I think down in Clayton County, we found out last week that they now have the highest number of child welfare staff that they've had since 2012. It's exciting news because it means we have more assistants, more professionals to help us sort of spread that workload out. And the more we can spread the workload, the more quality work we can do. The other part is going to be, as we move into next year, priority is going to be balancing that workload to make sure that we as an agency are focused on what we need to do, and that we can take issues that may be important that are better handled at the community level, at the family level, by other agencies, that we can refer those to other agencies and to other providers, so that we can make sure that you are focused on the key things that our agency is responsible for: child safety, child well-being when those children come into our orbit, child stability in placements, and certainly permanency, getting those children back to their families and making that permanency stick, or finding that child another permanent, safe, stable home. I look forward to going through this next year with you, and I appreciate your letting me be here, not only be with you every Tuesday, but every day of the week. I want you to find joy and meaning and purpose in your work, and I know that we at the state level don't do a perfect job, but I appreciate your bearing with us, and I appreciate your letting us have the opportunity to serve you as our professionals, and I assure you we're going to continue to respect you and do all we can to make your work meaningful, purposeful, and successful. So thanks. See y'all next week.